Welcome back to this week's Off the Record DJ podcast. In today, we're going to be talking about the cold start for DJs and artists, how to get your first 10,000 followers or 10,000 fans, especially on social media. We're going to discuss what to do if you're an introvert. We're going to discuss what kind of content is hitting at the moment, how to be authentic, and we'll discuss what has moved the needle for Crossfader in terms of content and how you can apply that to your own DJ socials. Let's go.
Music, industry talk, stories, equipment and more. We are Crossfader and this is off the record. Off the record. Off the record.
Yes, welcome back. It's me, Lawrence James, and Jamie Hartley.
What's up?
Danny's ill, isn't he? He's
ill, yeah.
And he's proper ill, like not just sneezy cough, like he's ill. So we're hope he's all right because we are going to Park Life this weekend as we're filming this.
Yeah.
Park Life.
The whole team are meant to be going.
Park Life Festival. How do I get the lineup? Oh, you got the lineup up. Yeah, so we're going Park Life this weekend. It's in Manchester. We go every year. It's like fourth year in a row.
Something like that, yeah.
Something.
It's not far from us.
It's not far. It's about an hour away. So, excited. The headline is 50 Cent, but in terms of like electronic artists, Pauser, Mochak, Max Dean, Rudimental, Obscure, Nautica, Interplanetary Criminal, Party Boy 69, Simone. It's going to Scream and Benga throwback.
Yeah.
Scream and Benga are back for people in the UK, probably bigger audience.
Joy Orbison.
Joy Orbison.
What's a random one? Is Steve Angelo?
Steve Angelo. Like,
there's no other artist like that really on the lineup.
Like, sort of like mainstream EDM. Yeah, Steve Angelo. I mean, that's sick. Morgan Seatree, Kyle Starkley. Yeah, it's going to be good. We're excited. The whole Crossfader team's going. So we might like drunkenly upload some story footage.
More than likely
upload some stuff to stories. But it's always fun, and we actually always enjoy the like resident DJ. We go to the VIP section where they've got DJs on all day, and they're usually really good.
yeah, and it's not as crazy. Like you've got space to all be together and have a dance. Which is
where's my podcast gone? So we're excited. Not excited.
I've got a few tunes later
that
are remixes of some of the artists that are on the lineup. So for the add to playlist segment, there's a bit of a theme going on there.
Park Life themed.
Yeah.
Park Life themed. Add to playlist. So if you want to tune hunt for track ideas, stay around till the end of this podcast. This week's been exciting for us. We got invited by Toolroom Academy to go down to London and speak on a panel. So basically, Toolroom Academy. Toolroom is one of the biggest electronic music labels in the world, especially for house music. Yeah. It's on Beatport. It's the number one most downloaded label on Beatport. Huge label owned by Mark Knight, who's been on his podcast. They also have a academy program. So if you're an up and coming producer artist, they sort of put you into their program and they build you up as an artist and help you out with A&R feedback and how to. All things from helping your socials to producing great music.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for years, very, very successfully. So we were quite honoured to be asked to go and speak on the panel. And the whole day is set up really good. So you've got obviously big DJs there. You've got your Mark Knight, Crusty. Chapter and Verse was down there. I'll come back to that. A big DJs obviously giving their perspective on the industry, how to make it as an artist. And then there's different sort of panels. There's A&R feedback, which was our favourite part of it. Then we were talking about how to grow your fan base. So there's loads of different areas of the industry being talked about on stage at
it's just a well-rounded day, really. And again, in person, it means that a lot of their students, traveled from all over the world to meet up in person, and it was a great experience to see kind of how they put an event like that together. It's not the first one that they've done. They also do them they've done them in Europe as well, haven't they? Berlin recently. So yeah, it was really cool. And yeah, bravo to you. Lawrence was on stage.
I was on stage.
I stepped in as cameraman for the day, and I was just filming a bit of the content. But yeah, Lawrence was talking about social media and promoting yourself as an artist and building up that following, and that theme was really the first 10,000 fans, which was sort of it's a rudimentary threshold that you kind of set yourself as a goal, but. It was really interesting. You were on stage with a few other people, weren't you? Do you want to say?
Yeah. So, our panel, before we get there, as we walked in, we saw good friend of the podcast, Chapter and Verse, who is a whirlwind. Everyone knows that. He wasn't even supposed to be on talking. I think Krusty was late, so he stepped in and jumped on a panel. Great to see him. And then on our panel was Rewire, again, friend of the podcast, been on the podcast, stereo hype label manager, an artist in his own right. He was on the panel with me, representing Crossfader. There was Laura, who we came across about 6 months ago. She had this viral moment where she's an artist, by the way. She had this viral video of her remixing CeCe Peniston finally, and it got picked up and it's got a release, and it actually came out on the day of the talk, which was quite cool. We got all the crowd went crazy when she mentioned it.
And it's lau.ra, isn't it?
Yeah. lau.ra. We'll put the socials in the comments. So she was giving that artist perspective, same as Rewire. And then Graham Farmer, who runs a blog called
Transmission.
Blog called Data Transmission. He's also big on streaming and Twitch, and he has an artist development program as well. So he has got a lot of different hats that he wears. Speaks really well as well. So what I thought we'd do is we've sort of pulled the questions from the chat we had on stage, and I thought we'd be able to sort of deliver them to Crossfader audience, because it was really insightful. I've picked up stuff that the other artists were saying as well, which was really insightful and give good feedback. So we've got the questions here from the panel. There was about 7-8 questions, and it's all about trying to get to that 10,000, which Jamie said it's a bit of an arbitrary number, but it's a good milestone of growing a fan base from a hard, cold start. Maybe you've got a couple hundred or 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
But you're sort of stuck. Maybe you need a hard reset, which we'll talk about. But how do we go from sort of 0 to 10,000?
It's going beyond your immediate circles, really, isn't it?
Definitely.
A lot of people's Instagrams are likely people they know, friends of friends.
Yeah.
And then beyond that point, you're starting to try and reach people that don't know you.
Yeah. Question number 1. Before we get into strategy and content, let's zoom out for a second. Why do artists actually attract fans and others don't? What do you think makes someone go from casually liking a track to actively following an artist and talking about them and buying their stuff? What sparks what's the spark that creates real fandom today?
Yeah. So we were talking about this on the train. Obviously, you gave your answers on stage. For me, I think it's this full circle thing of it's more than just music. Music is part of the bigger picture, and this goes back to attaching to whether it's stories, whether it's merch, whether it's community. These real artists that have created super fans always have a bit more than music going on. And a lot of the time it does come back to community. For example, I'm a big fan of Fred again. And why? I love his music, but then it's that desire to follow his journey.
Yeah.
He's been on a mad journey, and I'm almost as invested in the journey of Fred again as the music of Fred again. And because he just wears it, everything that goes on is like sharing on his story. He can be a bit secretive times, but then also be super just
open.
Look, I'm making these ideas, and he just puts them out on a carousel. They're just really raw, screen grabs, or even just like handheld recordings of different things that he's doing in that moment, and asking the community, like, what do you prefer, 1 or 2? What do you prefer, this idea or that idea? And then he'll evolve his sound off the back of his listeners, and I think that's amazing. And then if I think back to another artist that I really love is Jamie XX. Now, he's almost super secretive. Yeah. He doesn't share any content really, but he's got a diehard fan base. And that goes back to more, I've got a lot of his t-shirts, I've got all of his vinyl, some not opened, and that goes back to this, owning something of theirs. It really was born from the music, this new sound of electronic music almost 10 years ago now that I was like, what is this sound? And he just really captured something within me. And then I wanted to start collecting that sound and having something physical. It was more than just the listening experience because you kind of get attached to them as a whole. Yeah. So that was another thing. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else.
The way I sort of said it on stage is I always like to reverse engineer the problem. So if you think about what creates real fans, think about, like Jamie just said, what it is about somebody that you like. So I was on stage with Rewire. I love that when he posts technical DJ clips, that really resonates with me. I love that creativity. So every time he posts, I'll go over and I'll watch it and maybe dissect it and see what's going on. like I mentioned on stage, Laura was there, a bit like Fred again. I as soon as I come across the content, I feel like I know her. It's very personal. It's very like she's speaking to a friend. Now that is two totally different people that you're a fan of. They don't share that similarity, but it's something about them individually that you latch onto, and then it's about giving the person a lot of the thing they like.
Yeah.
So it's all right. You Rewire posting a technical DJ skill thing once going viral. But if I never see that ever again, I'm unlikely to be a real fan. Whereas if I'm constantly getting that value that I really want from the person, and obviously a lot of this is going to be talking about consistency, but if I'm constantly getting the thing that I want over and over again, that's like real fandom. Not just curiosity, but like, I am a fan of yours, and therefore I'm willing to do more than the average scroller or the average listener. I'm sort of invested in you, and that does take time. But I think it's about what is it unique about you, and it's not like you have to go and think, okay, what do I have to do that's separate? It's just like, what is it that you do generally day to day that can be your thing, Jamie? Like,
I've just thought of another example just
go.
now. Harry Mack, okay?
Oh, the freestyle rapper.
Freestyle rapper, one of the most amazing like freestyle lyricists you're ever going to come across. But his socials, I can't skip a video. Right?
Oh yeah.
So when I'm scrolling, if his video is there, I will spend the next 5 minutes watching that one video, and I can't skip any. Obviously, he's one because he's super talented, but I know what I'm getting. He does these Omegle bars where he's on Omegle, where you've got random people popping up.
Yeah.
So he's got random people from all over the world, and he then gets them to suggest some words, and he does a freestyle rap. But the format is exactly the same every time. But so I know exactly what I'm going to get. And it's almost like you're comparing each one to the last one, and like, is this one going to be better than the last one? I wonder what this person from this corner of the world, who's, this total character, what words are they going to suggest, and what kind of content is going to come out of this, and you just can't help but watch it. But I know what I'm going to get every time, and he rarely posts much else. He might do some stuff in the street, but he's kind of got these two formats. He goes and asks people in the street, or he's online on Omegle, and he gets these words, and then he does freestyle rap, and that's all he does. But he does it very well, and he just repeats it and repeats it and repeats it.
I think, look at it in two ways, because the thing I said on stage was, maybe I'm a fan of Fisher, for example, but I don't listen to his music. But when on socials or content, I know he's hilarious, and every time he posts or something, I'm watching it to see what fun thing he does, right? And I'm still attached to his personality enough that I would go and buy a ticket to a show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what he's led into entertainment as much as music.
There's two things that you can really focus on really early on. Are you educating or are you entertaining? Because both are two separate things, and both work for two different personality traits. If you are sort of loud, life of the party, then you can lead into entertainment because you're naturally going to be good on camera, essentially. Whereas Crossfader has been built off education. So you're either giving someone entertainment or you're giving them value. So what is like your unique thing? Are you showing them how to make a track, or are you sort of like dancing while you're listening to the track?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And entertainment doesn't always have to be, I'm extrovert and I'm trying to gain attention, so I'm going to do something wild just to be super over the top and entertaining. Like, entertainment can come in many forms. Like I was saying about Harry Mack, it's not entertaining because he's not teaching you how to rap. Like, it's entertaining. Entertainment, like, but it's serious. It's genuine with a bit of tongue in cheek in there. Like, so it doesn't always have to be like, I need to put on a show and a dance to try and like get attention. But there is entertainment segments for DJs where, some kind of series can be entertainment. Yep. What Rewire's doing skills and stuff, he's not saying like, this is how I do my skill and break down, and when we press this button and press that, it's still entertaining, but it's got an angle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, my entertainment is to attract those people who understand what I'm doing on the deck.
Yep.
Right? It's other DJs and really music conscious people.
100%. And I'll ask the second question before we go into it, but there is a big part of storytelling that's within this, and within this whole theme. But the second question was, be authentic is advice we hear all the time in 2025. But what does that actually mean in practice? Can you give an example of a post or moment where being yourself actually helped you connect with fans? So this goes on that deeper layer of entertainment and education, But then, what is your story? Jamie mentioned then about Fred again. There was a time when Fred again, because you might be like, oh yeah, Fred again. Of course, well, he's super famous, so it's easy for him. But there's a time when nobody knew about him. And I think that people underestimate their own storyline, or that it's not easy to share that with strangers. And I totally understand that, especially if you're a bit more introverted. But I don't think a lot of people understand the power of really like little wins, or they might be thinking, oh, who cares if I've just got 100 followers? Like people really want to back you, and if you get into the habit of shouting about your successes, because if you don't, like, who else is going to?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like nobody's going to just find you out of the blue and be like, oh, I'm just going to make you successful.
There's a huge content theme that I don't really know much about, but I know of it. Is there's girls that put makeup on and tell stories on TikTok. Like that is just the whole content
Get
angle.
ready with me sort of thing.
Yeah. And it's like, it's literally just storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's the whole content theme. They build millions of followers just off the back of just doing that. There's an equivalent in the music industry.
Yeah, I think if I think about chapter and verse again, it's like his socials are like more entertaining, and then they've got story within them. So it's not like he's like, here's how I made this track that did this. He's more like off the cuff. He makes jokes of certain genres and things like that. He's quite tongue in cheek about stuff. But then in between it, he's like, I started this at like 39.
Yeah. That's the story, right?
This is the story. I started this at 39. I was DJing in a pub. I've got this content showing that I only started a few years ago. And now, look where I am, sort of thing. He's got a gig this weekend, and he's headlining. He's got his own show at Ministry of Sound, whereas 5 years ago he was like the lowest on the bill. It was like one of his first ever gigs. It's story, and I guarantee that he will have told you the first time he was at Ministry of Sound, even though he was on the bottom of the bill. Do you know what I mean? And I think that getting 100 followers, getting 500, getting your first 1,000, getting your first 100 listens on an edit or a bootleg. Getting your first 100 followers on SoundCloud or something like that.
And you know what? You can't, if you don't document your story now, if you think it doesn't matter to anyone because I'm playing to nobody, but taking a picture of you playing to nobody is actually part of the story, because then in 3 years' time, you go back to that picture and you share it with the progress where you're at now, and suddenly you've got a story arc. But you've got to capture the start of the story. So you've got to start documenting now, 100%. Even though you think like, oh, but this doesn't look good. I haven't got thousands of people all dancing in front of me, so why should I even take a video? Take the video when there is nobody there, because you will want to keep that in your bank to then build story arcs around. For a single piece of content, one that just popped into my head, we were thinking about like, what's the angle for Crossfader? And one of the big things for me is that there's so many more like DJ schools and education popping up out there where there's big artists that are going to apparently teach you to DJ. And I thought, well, actually, do those artists make good teachers? They might be huge and they might have had a successful career, but can they actually teach you something? Like, are they a teacher? So we made a piece of content. I made one where it was like, look, I'm not a big artist. I am not this person that's playing on stages, but I have taught people for close to 20 years nearly, and I understand the pains and the struggles that the new DJ goes through because I've taught people one-to-one in a studio, and that's like the story, that's the USP that we really bring to the table, is that we are teachers first, not artists first. And we know we've played the graveyard shifts, we've played the 6-hour sets where our feet are aching, and it's those things that we lean into. It's like we understand that perspective.
Whereas if we'd have said at the beginning, if you'd have said, oh, well, how can I teach somebody? I've not headlined EDC or Coachella. Like, who's going to listen to me? We wouldn't be sat here talking to you. Like, you've got to celebrate what it is that, and if you're
makes you you.
And there was a lot of when Graham was on the panel, he said, how many sort of over 40s, and there was a lot there, and he made a great point of like, you've got more life experience, you've got more musical knowledge than anyone less of your age. And look at Fish 56 Octagon came up a lot of times of like, you don't need to try hard, you don't need to overthink it, you don't have to have achieved headlining Tomorrowland to tell a story. Fish Octagon tells his story through his music. I was here when this track came out. I did this and this and this, and my kids weren't even born yet, etc., etc.
It's a nostalgia play, and
goes,
everyone, the other people his age, connect to it and go, "I relate to you. I remember when I was there, and I remember this tune. Like, thanks for reminding me of this tune. You know, the throwback." And then just the fact that he had to do it, you know, before his kids were up because he's a parent. So he had to get up in his, you know, and that's why the dressing gown thing came about, because he's doing it at 5 a.m. and he's just doing it in his headphones, like, because he can't play music in his house at 5 a.m. But he just set up his camera and he just that was his content flex, and that works because that was his story, you know.
One thing that I didn't actually bring up on stage, which I kind of wanted to, was when you try to build an audience, your most likely early audience are probably going to be DJs and producers. And I just want to bring that up to sort of maybe give you a bit of a framework about who it is that you're speaking to initially. It's rare you're going to get your casual music listener on board before the DJ and producer community. One, because we buy all the music. We're on Beatport. Like my mum's not on Beatport buying buying Clooney tracks, right? First people to buy it are DJs and producers. They're the first. We're the community. We're the ones that support each other. We're the ones that buy the records first before you tip over that mainstream James Hype Ferrari. And I think that maybe that might be an easier way for you to then start talking about yourself and putting yourself out there, because everyone you're selling to is kind of already in the same boat.
And also, you're actually selling to the music industry to start with, because if you're wanting to get signed as an artist, you need to impress the labels and the A&Rs and the managers who are all in the music industry. It's not, you know, yes, build a community and a following, because it kind of goes hand in hand, but you do kind of want to get the attention of those people in the music industry for sure.
Yeah. This is why we should have been on stage for like 2 hours. We could just talk about this all day. Question number 3 was, how important is platform-specific strategy today? Should artists treat TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts differently, or just focus on one and go all in? So I'm very bullish on this. Of like, if we can speak and tell you the strategy for getting quote unquote 10,000 fans. I want to make sure that I'm not being polarizing. It's simple, but you've got to want to do that. And what I mean is, there's various tricks and techniques to getting fans and going viral. You have a quick hook. You need to give a pain point. You need to give a solution, and you need to give like a call to action to something. And you need to be on trends. And there's a very simple, quote unquote, simple strategy to getting fans on Instagram or social media. That's what I want to sort of preface what I'm going to say with. If you haven't done that, then you've still got a long list of things to learn. So I wouldn't concern yourself with trying to do more than one social media platform, because they all talk and look different and act different, and they've all got different people on them.
Yeah.
So if you're at the under 1,000, under 2,000, 3,000 followers, and you're not at that 10K yet, I would definitely focus on one. And the one that I would focus on is the one you open up when you wake up in the morning. What is the first thing you open up? Because you know that inside out better than you do the other ones. The other ones you're still trying to figure out. When I wake up, I'm on Instagram. That's my sort of go-to platform. And you know the insides and out. You probably spend most time, if you look at your analytics on your iPhone, it'll tell you where you spend your most time. And focus on that one, because it's a lot of work. There are all three of them, if you talk about YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, are a lot of work. And they all work slightly different. There's so many little nuances. Just focus on doing one very, very well until you get to a point where, actually, I know what I'm doing on this one now. Then I can start repurposing content onto other platforms.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of add to that and say, we talk a lot about Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, but if the apps that you open are Reddit or Discord first thing in the morning, then don't be distracted by Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now. They're your platforms. If that's what you open up is Discord or Reddit, because you enjoy the community and you enjoy contributing to community, then that's your content angle. You can still provide value or entertainment within those platforms as well. It's just a written format.
But what I will say to that is, you have to be very clear on what your goal is.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be on EDC, you're gonna have to make visual content. if you just want to do this as a hobby, as a community, and you want to build like maybe a local community, or you want to do live streams with people in a subculture of some sort of genre, then
might
stick
be better.
with that. But don't be angry at the world if you're not getting gigs, if you're on the platforms where other people aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But I would, I'd definitely stick to one. And let's take this back from one thing I said was, don't be afraid to start afresh. One, I think it's just a great mindset to just like be like, I'm just going to start this from the start, because one thing that's happens is you might have an Instagram account for like 10, 15, maybe 20 years. On there, you've had people over the years, high school friends, college friends, your mum, your dad, your auntie, your sister, your brother, people you don't speak to, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends. So when you're posting content, that's getting shown to them. They're not interested in it because they've grown up and they're past it. So Instagram goes, oh, well, that's not valuable content because people are even following her, don't like it. So then we're not going to show it to other people because the people that follow him don't like it. Mm-hmm. This happened to someone we know. A few people it's happened to actually, where their account got hacked and they had to start afresh. They had about 8,000 followers. Really stressful. We're trying to get it back. 2 months went by, couldn't get it back. Started afresh. Within 3 months, he's got 35,000 followers because he started afresh. He's stuck to a consistent theme. Every reel looks the same. There's a consistent theme, and the algorithm has started afresh and gone and found the people that are going to like this content. And then what's happened is he's found a chunk of people that like the content, and then it goes, okay, what's the lookalike audience to this? And then we'll go find them, and we'll go find them. Yeah. So I would always, if you've been trying to build an audience and you're getting frustrated and it's just not going anywhere, you post and you're getting 100 real views, I would honestly consider just starting a complete fresh. It gives you a complete.
You got to remember, you're training a machine, right? You're ingesting content into a machine. That machine needs to categorize that content and go, who's going to be interested in this? And if you've ingested into the machine 10 different topics and all sorts of different stuff, then the machine's confused and it's going, well, I don't really know if I'm pushing it to these people or those people, because it has no agenda. Yeah. It's just like, I'm just working on data, and you're giving me data that is very confusing.
But you're confused as well.
Yeah.
Because over the years, you've changed as a person. Your music. If I think like I was playing before COVID, I was just playing R&B, hip hop, and now I just play house and garage. So your taste change over time, and maybe it's just a good time to go. Right, okay, I'm all in on this tech house. Like this is all I care about. But, I've posted stuff of me at an open format gig. I've done a wedding or two. And so let's just like start afresh. This is me. Maybe you start a new alias or whatever. And then what really happens, like subconsciously or consciously, where, you might have had some bad comments. There might be some people that you've come across over recent years that you've not got on with. And you might be worried about them, giving you a negative comment, or you think about one person or two people in the background of your mind when you're making content. Oh, they might see this, and what are they going to think?
So it alters what you produce.
It alters what you produce. Maybe it's like just a family member or something who doesn't agree with what you're doing or something like that, and it alters how you make content. And it will be that thing before you press post or before you make something. Oh, well, what is someone going to think about it? Whereas if you can set a blank thing where nobody sees it, you can just completely lean into what you're into at the time. So yeah, don't be afraid to definitely start again, 100%. And in fact, what would you do if you were starting now? What would you start with in terms of like a social media platform? What would you go with?
I would probably go with YouTube, to be honest.
Would you?
Yeah,
still, yeah.
Where I'm at.
Like long form or just short form?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like you can flex both those ideas. I like making short form, but I like having the long form there to tell more stories. That's me. It definitely would be TikTok, because I'm just not. I don't use it myself. Yeah. It's Instagram and YouTube that I use. So
I would start with TikTok. I would definitely start with TikTok. It's the quickest way to build an audience. It's the quickest way to have like viral moments and things like that. But it's a very quick way to film an audience. It also doesn't rely on quality a lot. It relies on quantity. And I think that I would get into a really good headspace of just posting all the time without thinking about, I need this camera, I need to edit this, I need to have this camera, this angle, whatever. You can just set up a phone and just record a load of content. So I would definitely start with that. But yeah, interesting. Next question was split into the different panelists, but it was basically Instagram is obviously still a key platform in the dance community in 2025. The question for us was, Crossfader has built a huge online following on Instagram and beyond. What were some of the early moves that made the biggest difference in growing the audience? Can you share any growth hacking tips that you've learned along the way?
I mean, this is where it's quite tricky because when we really gained traction, the algorithm was totally different. You know, the things that worked back then, the different formats, different everything. Yeah. I don't even think Reels was a thing like when we initially built the audience. So it's always changing. That's something to keep in mind. But I think when I think back to Instagram specifically, and this was when, like, even maybe before you joined and as you joined, like I set Danny off on just doing series. So we did like controller cuts and it was scratching on DJ controllers. We made like 50 and they're only 15 seconds long, just different scratch patterns. And then we posted them for like the next 50 weeks, one a week. So Mondays or whatever was a certain thing. Tuesdays was something. Wednesdays was something. And it was a theme. It was the same thing. Every Wednesday, same thing. Every Thursday, same thing. We just batch made whatever that content piece was. So that's way back, you know, like.
Well, that hasn't changed for us. We have themes across our days still now. It's like Mondays, tutorial. Tuesdays, like student success. Wednesday will be like a carousel of some sort of article that we reproduce. Thursday's a podcast clip. Friday maybe a meme or something. So that's never changed. So that might be a good tip to sort of get into the habit of. What is like three content pillars that you can think about that you can just do on a weekly basis?
That you enjoy making,
that you enjoy making, and you can maybe like batch create. Because I think people get overwhelmed of having to maybe post every day or something. Yeah. But we always say if you can batch create something.
I mean, think about what goes into you as a DJ. You've got a tune hunt. Yeah. You've got to plan your sets. Yep. You've got to set up some hot cues maybe, or prepare your music, and then you've got to actually just do something with the music, like mix it. Yeah. So straight away, there's four things there, right? So you could do Mondays is your tune hunting content, and you literally set your camera up, and you like it's reactions to what tunes you're hearing, and then maybe like if you find a good one, just jump to the camera like where you found it, and then just cut that down to the best bits, and then you go, okay, next thing is preparing music. It's again you on camera, maybe record your screen and just like go through like how you dragging your tracks around,
trying to make a mashup live. That doesn't work, maybe this does work.
So it's straight away you've got four kind of elements as a DJ that you can just lean into. They're my content pillars, and I'm just going to film the same thing every week. Pull the best bits.
I think that the thing that has allowed us to be consistent is like Jamie said, it changes all the time, and I think you've got to adapt with the change. I can't believe when I still see like horizontal videos on Reels, and I'm like, come on. And it wasn't even long back where it was you were pointing at stuff on screen. That was a thing. It was like sound, point at stuff on screen. Then the text comes where you point in. So we were in studio doing stupid. We're like, you feel stupid, but you do it. You get results. So then you don't feel stupid. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's stupid if you're doing it and no one's seen it, I guess. Yeah. But once you do it, and you're like, oh my god, this has just gone viral. You're like, oh, okay, this is not stupid anymore. Yeah. But then that lasted like 6 months. then now what our most recent's been back to kind of like high quality stuff. But again, that's kind of like fizzled out in terms of views a little bit. So now we'll have to think about, okay, what is it now? What's the next thing? And I think that is not easy to get your head around, but I think it's just more leaning in to what the new thing is and not just blaming an algorithm, because the algorithm is, like Jamie said, it's just a computer changing what it thinks is valuable. Cool. I like that.
And imagine if you saw the same style of content for years and years, like you're going to get bored. You're going to move off the platform. So the platform's always giving you these tools to try and make something new because they want it to stay interesting and exciting. So anything you can bring that's a bit different, or something fresh you can lean into. That's why you've got to do it. Because if you're doing a trend from a year ago, then the platform's probably like this trend's nearly had its time. So.
I love this question. Let's flip it. Imagine you're mentoring an introverted artist who genuinely makes good music, but has no confidence online. What would you personally tell them to focus on? Is it a content type, a platform, a mindset?
This is a good one.
Really good one.
I know lots of amazing producers.
I said that I don't really know many non-introvert DJs.
Yeah.
We take on a persona so that we can get the thing in us out.
Yeah. so true.
Yeah.
Look, you don't have to talk on camera. The beauty of social media is that you don't need to just talk to a camera. If that feels weird to you, just get in the habit of just setting your camera up and filming you doing what you're doing, and then add captions, add overlays, add a voiceover so you can script it and you know exactly what you're going to say. You don't have to go hit record and go, so yeah, this today blah, blah, you know, you can go, okay, let me just capture what's going on. I'll take videos of like what I'm doing that day and whatever, and then just roll a voiceover over it and just get used to some of these basic, you know, whether it's the edits app, is it
like
for
you
Reels
said with
or CapCut?
like you said with like music hunting,
Yeah.
like you can just go through tracks and have them pop up on screen.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. And also, if you've got gigs, right, go and play the artist music, upload them to yours, tag them. They'll share them. That's a way for you to sort of grow in a community. If you're a Toolroom fan, you're playing Mark Knight stuff and D. Ramirez and Krusty and things like that. Film them, upload them, tag them, and they'll share it and help you grow a fan base.
Or lean in and go journey of the introverted DJ.
Yeah,
you know, and literally like upload, you know, this content that is you owning the fact that like I'm a bit introverted. I don't really know how to like put this content across, and just be totally like,
love that.
You know, just wear it.
Yeah, I love that. Leaning into communities, we mentioned, didn't we? Like everybody's sort of subculture communities out there. So if you go into a Chasing Status Discord, if you go into a Reddit channel that's about, you know, techno or whatever, you can sort of already find people who are interested in what you're interested in, and sort of have back and forth. So maybe you can sort of run content by that community. You know, if you what's working for people, what's not working. Like I'm not big into talking to cameras. Anyone had success with this type of content, etc.
I think a lot of people have a fear of being judged, right? We all have a fear of putting something out into the world and judgment coming back. And there's a big mindset where you've got to get to a point where every single person that puts themselves out online will have judgment. But usually it is the small minority, and it is so hard to ignore and not let that small, tiny one comment just eat away at you when there's 100 people that like it and one person that maybe has a negative comment. All you focus on is that negative comment. And it's such, you know, it goes across the whole scale from someone who's got 100 followers to someone who's got millions of followers. It's just like there's always a percentage of people that aren't going to vibe with you or like you. And you've just got to...
You have to be okay with it.
You've got to get to a point where you go,
I'm not doing it for them.
I'm not doing it for them.
I'm not doing it for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said the similar thing on stage, and you've got to be comfortable, like not annoying someone, but yeah, that everyone's going to like you, and also be good at things not being perfect, and also like if you're an introvert and you don't like talking to camera, for example, most times spent on Instagram is in DMs and in the comment section more than the feed. So that is something you can always be doing. You can always be DMing your favorite artists, your local DJs, your local talent, local producers. You can always say something nice in a comment, give feedback, add value. That I would also consider that also like content. It's almost, I'd sort of class it as content. Like you're actively engaging with somebody, and that is something you can do constantly. I mean, if you go to any house DJ's profile, chapter and verse is in the comments. If you go on any house DJ with a name, like he just said, you know, whether it's an emoji, whether it's just some funny comment,
he's definitely not an introvert.
Yeah. Maybe don't take advice on introvert for him. Yeah, I think that, 100%. Next question is, we'll edit this for our audience, but say you made 5 tracks that you're proud of, but nothing's landed online, no reposts, no shares, no buzz. What are the possible reasons, and how do you know whether the problem is the music, the content, or the storytelling? Now, we didn't actually get to this question because we were talking so much that we're out of time.
Just like now.
Just like now.
We were kind of hitting that time.
But what I did really want to say, and obviously from our perspective, we're not getting mixes. We're getting more mixes and content that students want to share with us, as opposed to tracks. But one thing I would say is like 5 tracks is fuck all. Like 5 tracks as a sample size is nothing. And I get that you might be super proud of a track and you want it to do well. But just like with anything, a numbers game is what you're playing. That is the main thing. It's not the quality of track necessarily. It's not the quality of content necessarily, but it is how much you are doing in our experience. So I would say if you've put out 5 tracks that are not working, what happens if you put out 50 tracks? If it's not working, then there's an issue. But I guarantee something will work. 1, because you've had more repetitions, you're getting better and better and better. 2, it's just gone out to way more people and way more people have seen it. So you're getting feedback. But it's like trying to get a track signed. Say you just got 1 track and you message 1 label. Probably not going to get a response. If you message 1,000 labels, I reckon you might get 1 response at least. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can reverse engineer the problem of like, okay, so to get, let's say it's a track, to get a track signed, I have to make 5 tracks and I have to send them 5 tracks out to 200 labels to get 1 track signed. And then it's not like, is the problem the content? Maybe. Is the problem the track? Maybe. But you will get way more feedback from,
I'm going to use Fred again as the example again. So that feedback loop, if you only think about, I've got to finish this track before then I can make some content or send it to labels or whatever, and then something to come of that effort that I put into this song, it's a long journey just to get to the point of starting the promotion, if you want to say, of your music, because you've got to make this final polished track. This is where, going back to the Fred again example, his content and story arc, he might have 1 song that he's working on and it keeps getting drip fed to his audience, and that he's showing samples of it, then he's showing like different compositions of it, and then he's maybe showing like the acoustic version of it, like, and all these different things that make up this song then create the story arc around that song. So when the final song's ready, people have heard snippets of it, people have understood where that song's come from as him as an artist. And they can attach a whole story to the 1 song, not, hey, do you like this music? Oh, yes or no. Done, right? It's, hey, do you like what I am doing as an artist? Do you like this kind of sound that I'm producing? Do you like how I'm putting it together? Yes, no. Okay, let me change that. Now do you like how I'm putting it together? Yes, no. And it's that iteration all the time, which then suddenly you've got many pieces of content. You've got a following, because people are following the journey of, it may not be, it's a journey of you, but it's a sub story within it, because each song that you produce or each mix that you make, again, going back to a mix, if we do it on a DJ perspective, if your end goal is like, I want to make a mix that has got my favorite tunes in it, okay, don't just make the mix and then try promote the mix. Document you finding the songs, and like going back to that, exactly what I just said, finding the songs, and then document you putting them in an order, then document like how you set up to then record it, like what sort of recording setup have you got, that's value, it's educational, and then document like, are you filming it, are you recording it, is it going Mixcloud, going on SoundCloud, where are you putting it, why, and then suddenly it's like you've got all these pieces of content around 1 mix.
The best person in the world at this is James Hype. Everybody knows what he does. He's unbelievable at storytelling. And every piece of content has a meaning, like it has a purpose, and they're also very good at just like what you've just said of having everything work towards 1 thing, like having all of the journey of getting this, EDC stage or this sync stage off the ground, or just a track getting signed. There's always a build up. There's always something in behind, and he's got his vlog, which is sort of warts and all 24/7 with him. But if you need any inspiration on that, just go and dissect what makes James Hype Social so good. One thing I brought up on, did I bring it up on stage? I don't know if I did, but in terms of like this, putting out a load of content, if you're a DJ or an artist and you want to be successful and you want to hit your goals and you're struggling to post content consistently, just phrase it as everything you could ever want might be on the other end of like 100 posts or 1,000 posts, whatever the number is. But everything like you've ever wanted is at the other side of that number. If you think about like our social, for example, like Crossfader, we posted something like 2,800 Instagram posts or something, right? That has been over such a long time, but we're so like proud of like where we are now. But it doesn't happen without the in between of that. And if you're really stuck at like, what am I going to post today or tomorrow or something, just be like, in 1,000 posts time, everything I've ever thought about, or ever dreamed of, ever wanted might actually happen. Because, and even if it doesn't, you're going to be so much closer to that point than you are on 0 posts. So it's just something to think about. It might just be like a little motivation that might help you. Last couple of questions that was asked were, I don't even know if we got to these ones, but how useful is data when you're at the early stage? Are follower counts, saves, and reach actually useful? Or should artists just focus on conversations and community building?
I think follower count, people have been, it doesn't matter as much anymore.
No,
it's the content that matters.
Yeah,
the algorithms aren't pushing people to follow each other. They want a constant stream of content that's being created to keep people on the platform. So you want to just reverse the thinking there, because that's changed.
100%.
So don't look at your follower count. Look at like
follower count can still be, follower count is more of a metric of, how do I put it? I think it's important to a point when you're getting booked, and both things will happen simultaneously.
Yeah, but this is starting out.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
starting out,
totally
just focus on the
agree.
content.
Totally
Don't be
agree,
like,
yeah.
oh, I've gained 3 new followers. Like,
Totally.
just ignore that for now.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
make good content.
Yeah.
Tell a story.
No, I agree.
And the followers will come. So
Yeah.
I think just going back to starting out, how important is it?
Yeah.
That's my thing from that.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the most time spent on, well, let's just going with Instagram, are in DMs. So as you're creating content, how do you create content that people want to share with their friends? It might be a good reframe from you, because I think when you're starting out, you're really trying to put all the focus on like you. Like, I've just made this track, go and buy this track, I've just did this mix, go and listen to this mix. And not, how do I make content that my friend would share with his friend? And that is really the sweet spot. If you think about our content, it's all value driven. It's all, how do we make something that somebody saves for a later date, or that somebody sends to another friend? And that might stop you from going, I've just made this track, go listen to this track, by saying, when I was, in 2005 or whatever, I heard this remix, and I was at this play, I was in London, I was at Ministry of Sound, I was around by all my friends, and it was the biggest track ever. So I thought I'd go and I'd pull a sample of that into this remix and give it a fresh 2025 spin. 2025 spin. Do you remember where you were at this particular time in 2005 when this track was everywhere? That, I go, yeah, I remember. Yeah, of course I remember. Oh, and also I love what you've done with it now. It's given me like goosebumps of where I was. That is shareable content. Yeah. Not, listen to this, I've just made it. What do you think? Something to think about. Last one. Can you each talk about one piece of content that really moved the needle for you and why you think it worked? Was it timing, reliability, trend hacking, or something else? This is where Laura had the great story. She made an edit or remix of Finally, CeCe Peniston, went super viral, got signed, picked up. I think it's just come out.
Again, wasn't it like, I can't remember what the hook was, but the hook was really good of like, if you were born in the 90s or something like that. I don't know. If you were born in the 90s and remember this tune, tapping into nostalgia. Yeah. It wasn't like, hey, I remixed CeCe Peniston Finally. What do you think? It's if you were this person painting the picture of, some nostalgic thing to attach to, then check this out, and it's suddenly like, oh, I want to see what this is about, because I was that person.
Got it.
Is that what it was?
It was take a house classic from 1991 and make it 2025. And we just said this before. I can't believe that.
So again, you're like, oh, house classics in 1990s. I was there. I wonder what house classic this is. Let me click on it. Oh, I remember this tune. Oh, I wonder what 2025 version sounds like. Suddenly you've watched the whole thing.
She posted another one recently where she was doing a DJ set. So the caption is genre wars. Tracksource says this is garage. Beatport says it's deep house. And then obviously like the engagement is like, what do you think it is in the comments?
Yeah.
So I think, a great hook on any piece of content is great. James Hype's, have you ever seen a DJ do this? That's always worked well. When you've got a piece of content that moves the needle, it's so important that you've got other content to back it up. Because there's nothing worse than going, and that is a bit of an issue with TikTok. TikTok does like to blow you up quite early, but then you're a bit thin on the ground with content. People want to go, whoa, that's amazing. What else have they got? And if it's really threadbare, or like you say, you've been on Instagram for 10 years and it's just all, it doesn't make sense. You just posted this tech house track, but you're DJing at this wedding the other day. It doesn't make sense. It's important to have that. So that can also be a frame of like, I don't want to go super viral yet until I've got a good, 50 pieces of content that I really nail down of like who I am and where I'm going. And then I can really ramp up trying to go viral. Because trying to go viral super early on and then having nothing else to show for it, it's just not going to, you're not going to stand the test of time.
And I think one big play to come back to here is, what really do you love? Because a lot of people set out, go, I am an artist, I am a DJ, I now need to make content and I now need to go viral. And the goal is to get the 10,000 fans, or to go viral, or to get signed, right? The goal, realistically, should be, what makes me tick? What makes me happy? What do I love? And that's what you should document, because then it will be genuine and your love for it will shine through. There are many angles to share and show what really you're passionate about and what you love. And it's just, you've got to do a bit of introspection and look at yourself first and go, what is it about me that makes me? And that's what you need to document, because that is where that's where you'll find that sweet spot. It's the X factor. It's the thing that's going to take you, and it's a thing you don't have to like put a mask on for, but you've got to look inside yourself first and figure out what that thing is, and it might not be clear cut to start with. So doing a bit of sort of, I don't want to say soul searching, but doing a bit of like introspection.
Even if you write it down, you've mentioned before, write it down on paper so you get very clear. Something that we, when we were putting together the How to Gigs course, like one of the first lessons is like, what do you want? Like really? Because the path to doing 6 nights a week residency, to being headlining EDC, to being an event DJ, corporate DJ, they're all very different. And if you don't know that starting out, then you're just going to have a lot of like windy roads to nowhere. But I want to say thank you so much to Toolroom Academy for inviting us down. We had a chat with them. Hopefully we'll be back there next year as well. And I think we're going to do some stuff with them coming up as well, so keep your eyes out for that. But big love to Miles, Matt and I, and all the Toolroom Academy team.
Yes. I can't believe we just spoke for 51 minutes about that. I mean, I can and I can't. It's impressive. Thank you if you're still listening right now for sticking around, and I hope you got a lot of value out of that conversation, because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we didn't have that long on stage.
No.
We had like 20 minutes or half an hour.
That's why it's great. We can go deeper in the podcast. There's no time limit.
We did actually do some, you'll see on the socials, me and you at the end of it did a bit of a quick fire question round with them.
I've not even seen that yet.
Yeah, they sent it over.
I'm just going to see it live.
Yeah, so that'll be on our socials soon. But yeah, go. And also, if you are an up and coming producer and you want some support, Toolroom Academy is the place for that. Just knowing the team behind the product, they've just got the best intentions of, and that was another thing as well. So everybody there at the Toolroom Academy were like students of theirs, and they had this moment where they're all together. There was an A&R feedback session, so they submitted tracks and had feedback from Mark Knight, Crusy, D. Ramirez, all on stage. So it's really full circle moment of them feeling inspired of like the making moves forward. But yeah, super cool brand. But yeah, go and check out Toolroom Academy if you're like an up and coming producer. Right, Park Life. This weekend, get me in the mood for Park Life.
That's it. So I tried to find some remixes of people that were on the lineup of Park Life, specifically the day that we're going on, over 2 days. I have got 11% battery left. Let's see how far we get.
Hopefully they're all 170 BPM.
So, Mark.
Oh, let's go.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll start with the big headliner on our day.
Oh, okay. Imagine if 50 Cent turns up as a house set.
It's a bit of a bop. Let me skip it.
Well,
damn, baby, all I need is a little bit.
Oh, yes.
That's a vibe, right?
Do you know what?
This says free download.
I can't think off the top of my head a really good. I just thought 50 Cent and house for me is just never ever clicked.
It's always been like a means to an end. It's like, oh well, we kind of need to play for synths, but like,
Yeah.
it's sort of like very out of the box.
It's very difficult to have 100 BPM. 100 BPM is the worst BPM for remixing to put in a house. But this somewhat seems to fit. Yeah. It's a lot more dramatic. I like it.
Good. So that's Mike Ren's remix of 50 Cent, just a little bit, and it says free download on the title for SoundCloud. So hopefully it still is.
Borderline techno, isn't it? But it's a bit slower than your average techno
I think
track.
It's a bit more. It's still quite tech housey, isn't it? Right. Total different vibe.
It's my wife.
So this Georgia Smith she's on just before 50 Cent. I love Georgia Smith. Love. Again, we'll skip in a bit. So this is Georgia Smith, Gone.
Oh yes, I was hoping it was going to be Liquid. Well, do you know what I love about Georgia Smith? She's coming full. She's been like, American favourite. She's come full circle. She's doing like UK bass tracks. We've got her back. This is hard.
It's sick, and you know what I rate about this? They've not detracted from what the song is about her song. It's like, we're gonna make a drum bass remix, but we're not gonna like try and take over the song.
I was so happy when it dropped because I was like, don't be wobbly, don't be like. It's sort of a bit harder than Liquid, but still that kind of vibe.
Yeah. So that is Tanis Lavelle, the drum and bass remix
of Gone, Georgia
Smith. Now this one, so Charlie XCX is on the lineup on Sunday, but this is the Scream and Benga remix, who are back as a duo, and they are on Saturday when we're going. I mean, so I've kind of like, it's a bit of both of the lineup joining together here.
Obviously a lot of people in the UK listen to this. If you are a Part Life, you will find us at Scream and Benga. Simple as that.
It's a throwback, isn't it? Right. Anyway, this is Von Dutch, Charlie XCX, Scream and Benga.
I'm up.
I mean, it's just in your face, isn't it? What a vibe.
Oh.
Does it do anything else?
I mean, look.
Yeah. Does it do anything else? Second drop? I think it's probably the same.
That rolling bass under that is crazy. You know why it's really good though? Because they will obviously play a lot of unknown stuff and unreleased stuff, and when they need to just bring it back to the casual people in the audience, just a little Charlie XX bootleg.
That's it,
they're just like, it's cool. That is hard.
Right, this next one, I think it's like by the way, I found these songs by literally typing in artist remix on Spotify, and I've listened to like 2 seconds of them. So this is kind of first time for me as well. This is Joy Orbison, Tessellate, Hackney Parrot FM. So Hackney Parrot's someone else. It's not Joy Orbison, is it?
No.
But FM is a Joy Orbison tune, and I'm guessing they've done a bit of a mashup, and then we'll see what, I don't know. Right. So this is the Joy Orbison part of it.
Flex FM was his big track last year. Yeah. This is like part of that. So they've called it
Hackney Parrot. So
Hackney Parrot.
Take. That's that bit, isn't it? So just sort of like segment here. Right, let's skip to the drop. So they kind of kept the bass line and done a straight mashup.
Daniel loved this.
A bit different.
Daniel loved this.
I always think tunes like this, that they're just like tools. You've got to just like get the elements, drop it, and move on now.
Get out.
You can't let it play too long.
You got to get in, get out.
Yeah, and it's just like a tool for a DJ now. That was Joy Orbison, Hackney Parrot, Madarasi mashup. Right, next one. Because my battery's about to die.
Last one.
I've got two. We'll see if we can get two. Right, this is Rudimental and Khalid, All I Know.
Yep.
Israel Carter remix. pop, drum and bass, and some like glitch, lo-fi. Let's see if it does anything else.
Nah, not for me. This.
Not for you.
Not for me. This. Kind of like neither anything.
Yeah.
It's like wanting to be drum and bass, but it's not. And then it's not a pop song either. Like I don't know.
Bit confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for me.
Last one.
Yes.
Sammy Verji, Interplanetary Criminal, Hamdi Edit.
I play this out.
Damage.
I play this version.
Finish on this. I mean, it is what it is.
I hope I hear this.
That's this week's Add to Playlist.
That was Sammy Virgin Interplanetary Criminal. Hamdi remix of Damager. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to join Crossfader for free, just go to wearecrossfader.co.uk. You can join for free. There's a bunch of free lessons inside the platform. You can also create your own custom learning journey if you want to level up your skills. You basically just fill out a few questions about your software, your goals, the genres you like, and we'll build you like a custom learning journey. And there's also a bunch of rewards and stuff in there just for signing up. So go and join for free at wearecrossfader.co.uk, and we'll see you again next week.
And make sure to subscribe to this podcast as well.
Yeah, you can do that if you want.